Hey BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching Books I'm Not Reading. I wanted to do just kind of a wrap-up of Curious Adventure, which was a year-long challenge hosted by Natalie at Curious Reader to read more nonfiction. And I didn't find out about it until probably March or April, so I was kind of behind at the beginning. I was also limited some of the prompts. I just didn't have anything that really that fit them. So some prompts I doubled up on because I was reading from my home library this year. However, I just thought it was a great project, and I just kind of wanted to summarize the prompts that I did do and what I thought of the books. Some of these books I made a whole video on, so I'll link to those down below if you'd like to know more about them. So here we go. Prompt number 1 is read about a local celebrity or specialty. You choose the level of locality. So for this is one of the categories I have 2 books in. The first one's John McPhee, Rising from the Plains. I also read this for Springathon, so kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone there, but I really, really loved this book, although I do recognize it's so specific because it's about my part of the world, my state, and the geology, which is fascinating. So anyway, it's a great, wonderfully well-written book, and I will link to the video about this down below. The other book I also made kind of a rant video about. This is Between Wyomings by Ken Mansfield. My God, and an iPod on the open road. It doesn't have anything to do with Wyoming, and so we got off on the wrong foot from the get-go, unfortunately. So if you are interested in the country music industry and seeing what the behind-the-scenes life of that is like, and as long as you can handle it coming from a Christian perspective, which again I didn't know when I got the book, it's published by Thomas Nelson. So if you would like this book, please let me know in the comment section how I can reach you, and I will be happy to send this to you because I'm definitely getting rid of this one. The next one is read about an experience different from your own. And so for that, I read Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. And I have heard from many of you that this is excellent on audio, but it is still about a dark and sad subject, and so reading the book wasn't quite the comedic lift that I was looking for. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it was going to be, all funny. Obviously, it's about a very serious topic, but it's about his growing up in South Africa, and anyway. So I liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars at the time, but it's kind of fading from my memory. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to hold on to this or not, so we'll see. Celebrate something you love by learning more about it, a hobby, a place, music genre. So for that, I read Raising the Bar by Lauren Kessler, Big Dreams, False Starts, and My Midlife Quest to Dance the Nutcracker. And in honor of this book, I have my little nutcracker earrings on. And I also brought my nutcracker from upstairs. So I was in the nutcracker when I was a little girl. I must have been very young because I don't really remember the experience. I don't even know what I was. But of course they always sell merchandise in the lobby, and so that's where I was able to get this. But it is very fragile, and I don't know how much longer it has left. But I do enjoy it, and I still am a fan of the Nutcracker after all these years. So this book I gave 4 stars to, and there were some things in it that I didn't enjoy as much, especially, she's talking about being a midlife woman, and I'm not really sure what she is what her definition of a midlife woman is, but you know, how sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone and try something really radically different, which I thought was great. And I loved learning more about the Nutcracker itself. So yeah, it was a fun read. Prompt 4, read a collection of short writings that have in part previously been published elsewhere. So, once again, I'm showing this on my channel, Gloria Steinem's Outrageous Acts and Everyday Rebellions. I did make a review video of this, so I'll link the video to this one down below. Okay, prompt 5, read a book about an activity, craft, and then go and try that thing out. So this is a bit of a stretch because I already keep track of all of the books I read, but this is My Life with Bob, which is her book of books. Flawed Heroine Keeps Book of Books, Plot Ensues by Pamela Paul. It's got such a great cover, this paperback edition. Again, I enjoyed this, but it's kind of fading from my memory. I think, I gave it 4 stars. So the next prompt, I don't actually have the book anymore. It's prompt 6, browse a nonfiction shelf and choose a book you've either never heard of or something that grabs your attention. Again, I was only using my home library in 2020, and so the book I grabbed off the shelf is called Broken by Lisa Jones. It's got a horse on the cover. It's about a quadriplegic man. It's nonfiction, of course. Quadriplegic man who lives not very far, who lived not very far from where I do, and he helped people and their horses. And so I thought it was going to be a horse book. It's not what it was about at all, but one of you said, I really like this book, and so I was able to send that to them. So that was great. I'm so glad that it has a good home, but it just wasn't meant to be part of my library. I had a couple instances between Broken and between Wyoming's. Yeah, there were definitely some books that I thought were about one thing and they were about something completely different. So, prompt 7, time travel. If you could live in any era, which would it be? Read a book about some aspect of it. So for this, as part of Jane Austen July, I read Among the Janeites, A Journey Through the World of Jane Austen Fandom by Deborah Yaffe. And I read this as a buddy read with Rainey from Rainy Day Reads during Jane Austen July, which was very fun. And I think both Rainey and I realized after reading this that even though we considered ourselves Janeites, I certainly love Jane Austen, there are people who it is on a whole other level. So good for them, but no. Like some of the stuff was just very extreme. But there was a lot in here about the Jane Austen Society of North America, as well as its counterpart in England, and how film has affected membership in that organization, that kind of thing, their conventions. It's wild. It's really wild. Anyway, but like I said, it was a little shocking to think that you're a Janeite and then realize there's people who are so far beyond what you're willing to do. But yeah, so we'll be keeping that one. Okay, prompt 8, pick up a nonfiction and fiction pair on any topic to read together. So I kind of made a mistake here. One of my goals this year was to read all of the Tim O'Brien books that we own. So for this prompt, for the nonfiction side, I read If I Die in a Combat Zone, which is his memoir of his experience in Vietnam. And I also read his novel, July, July. So July, July is about a class reunion. The class of 1969, I call it college class, 1969. And so these people get together and yes, like some of them have been to Vietnam, some of them were draft dodgers. there's women characters who obviously have other experiences. So I enjoyed it. It's a good novel. It's a good book. It's not nearly as good as some of his other things. But these two don't really kind of go together, because this is after the fact. What I loved about this book was reading about what Tim O'Brien's actual experience is like, because I have a tendency to turn everything into autobiography. So I would say if you were going to pair this with one of his books, it should be The Things They Carried, which is his masterpiece. Everyone should read it. It's just absolutely it's just a phenomenal book. And I've said that a bajillion times on this channel. But anyway, so I mean, it was still great to read both of those books. It just wasn't quite what I thought. Prompt 9, dig deeper into your past. Pick up a book that somehow relates to your childhood or growing up, something that makes you feel nostalgic. So this was another one I doubled up on. The first one is A Buffalo in the House, The Extraordinary Life of Charlie and His Family by R.D. Rosen. I had an experience with a buffalo when I was probably like second grade or so, and they are kind of iconic for my state. There is a buffalo herd in Yellowstone, of course. They don't understand about the borders. And there's also some other, places around that people are raising buffalo, but they're wild animals. They will always be wild animals, and you just shouldn't mess around with them. I certainly wouldn't recommend having one move in with you, but I did enjoy this book. I think I gave it 3 stars. A few issues here and there. Again, I don't want people to read this and think, oh, I should take a baby buffalo home. Like, it'll be like Charlie. Like, so, but I still enjoyed it and appreciated kind of the buffalo on the whole as more as a result of reading this book. The second one is Deborah Marquardt's, The Horizontal World, Growing Up Wild in the Middle of Nowhere, which, even though that's North Dakota, I felt like I could connect with that with my childhood. And to some extent, yes. To some extent, no. I think, unfortunately, I never know how to hold this book up. And there was one of you out there who expressed interest in reading this, and I'd be happy to send you the copy, but you do need to let me know in the comment section down below how I can reach you. And again, these books will probably be sent out in 2021. But I'm happy to, because I probably will get rid of it. There was just, I wish it'd been a little bit more fluid. There were a couple really horrifically written sentences. There was also some beautiful writing, and a lot of the chapters in this book were published elsewhere, or previously, and so sometimes I almost felt like you could feel like the role of the editor in the book. But anyway, if you still want to read this, I can't remember who it was, but you need to let me know so that I can get your contact info and start making a pile. So I couldn't do the next 2 prompts. So the final prompt is adventures help us learn about the world, but equally about ourselves. Pick a book that reminds you of yourself or allows you to self-reflect. So for that, I read Inspired by Rachel Held Evans. The subtitle is Slaying Giants, Walking on Water, and Loving the Bible Again. So I read this for maybe Midrash in May, and I did do a review, so I will link to that down below. But yeah, again, this is a book that's kind of faded from my mind a little bit. We'll definitely keep it because I know Jason wants to read it. All right, BookTube, that's my curious adventure. Natalie, thank you so much for hosting this event. I really appreciate it. Be sure to check out Curious Reader's channel. She's got another great event this year. It's called Invisible Cities. So look for that. BookTube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.